Hi Virgo, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your March 2025 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, take out the cross spread as always, and also pulled the 4 agreements and wisdom oracle card for you guys. But we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea where your focus should be as that goes. As far as that goes. Alright, we have Uranus. So Uranus is actually in Taurus, which is your 9th house of philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs. And actually, you guys have a full moon eclipse coming up in your sign around the middle of March. And it's actually going to be making a trine aspect with Uranus. So it makes sense to see that come up in that regard. All right, we have 7. So 7th house energy for you guys is Pisces. And of course, we're just about to enter into Pisces season, and then there's plenty of energy going on in Pisces as well. The North Node recently moved into Pisces. We have Neptune that's been there for a really long time. It's briefly going to move into Aries at the very end of March. Let's see, we have Saturn there, right? So Mercury is going to be there until the 3rd, then it's going to go into Aries, but it'll retrograde around the middle of the month, then end up back in Pisces. So yeah, there's tons going on in Pisces for you guys. And then there's also going to be a Venus retrograde that's, well, it's going to start in Aries, but then toward the end of March, it's going to end up back in Pisces. So tons of energy going on here, 7th house. So fully makes sense to see this come up as well. And then funny enough, for the zodiac sign, we have Scorpio. So Scorpio is actually pretty quiet area of the zodiac right now, but for you guys, Scorpio is your 3rd house of communication, short journeys, and siblings. So they could be that area could be tied into things as well. I will say, seeing your communication house pop up though does make me think of the Mercury retrograde that we'll have in March too. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is Jupiter, and squaring that we have the Ace of Cups. So normally with Ace of Cups, people tend to jump to thinking it's a love situation with that, but sometimes they could also view it as creative projects. But I do have to say this time it could be leaning a little bit more heavily toward the love aspect because, well, for one, we talked about the 8 million things going on in your 7th house. But given that this is Jupiter energy, which is in your 10th house of career and social status, the way I could see this playing out could just be saying that, now that Jupiter started direct motion recently in Gemini after being retrograde for months, maybe now things are starting to pick up in your careers, and then all of a sudden, maybe a love offer starts to come your way, and you're like, okay, well, it might not be the ideal timing, right? Because now all of a sudden things are really picking up in your career. So that's how I see that could potentially be playing out for some of you. And for others of you, could just be saying that maybe because you're so wrapped up with these things, with the Wheel of Fortune, that you might miss an opportunity because your focus is elsewhere. So that's another way it could play out. In the foundation position, we have the 4 of Cups. So this is Cancerian energy here. So yeah, so this even to me kind of reinforces that initial thought that I had. So for example, let's say this was you potentially seeing what was out there when it came to the dating scene, for example, right? And maybe you're just like, oh, I'm not really impressed with any of this stuff, right? And then that ironically could have been what shifted your focus to say, you know what, I'm just going to put more energy toward my career, right? This whole thing here isn't working out. And then now that finally picks up, now poof, here's a promising love offer all of a sudden, right? So that's how I can see it playing out. But in general, could just be any kind of offer because, like I said, this could also be more related to creativity, creative projects. So could just be one of those things where all of a sudden that one area of life picks up for you, all of a sudden this other offer comes out of the blue. All right, and past position, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So yeah, so to me, this seems to align with what we were thinking with the Wheel of Fortune, which is to say that you might have been thinking about what to do with finances, right? Maybe even a specific offer might have come your way in the past. And now in the present position, we do see the King of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy. So yeah, so it could just be saying that you've been experiencing some success when it comes to your finances, right? Some growth, stability. So yeah, to me, this seems like it's the most likely scenario, which is now, you've had things start to pick up in your career area of lives, and now a love offer seems to come, and you're just like, okay, this doesn't seem like the ideal timing. In the near future position, we have the Star. So this is actually the major arcana card for Aquarius. And I mean, technically, at the time of recording this, we're still in Aquarius season. So seeing this in the near future position could just be saying that as we finally do wrap up Aquarius season, maybe this is going to give you some perspective on what to do next, right? You might feel like what you've been going through is a bit of a course correction. And really, given that Aquarius for you guys is your sixth house of your work, your daily routines as well, this could also just be saying that, yeah, maybe things were meant to unfold this way. All right. In the position of your influence in a situation, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So this is actually a Virgo card here. So yeah, so to me, this says that you're really just embracing your independence right now, right? So yeah, like I said, I feel like in a way, you wouldn't necessarily think of the Ace of Cups as being a challenge, right? But maybe that's the main thing, right? Where you might feel like you've gotten into such a good groove, a good flow lately. And now, even though on the one hand, normally you'd view that Ace of Cups as a positive, it almost feels like more of a distraction, at least with this timing. All right. In the environment position, we have the Six of Cups. So Scorpio energy here, which actually, interestingly enough, we saw that come up with the dice, right? So this could just be, maybe this is part of it, right? Maybe this is someone from your past as well, right? So maybe you might have resigned to not having the situation with them come back together, right? So that could be what's making it even more difficult, right? Because maybe for a while you might have felt like, oh yeah, I'd love to have this opportunity come back around, right? You might have finally given up on that. Now that would align with the Venus retrograde energy, right? Because like we say, Venus retrogrades can bring past love situations back to the forefront. So it could be one of those things where now, you might have finally resigned yourself to, okay, that's not going to happen, right? You might have just shifted your focus elsewhere. And now all of a sudden, this situation seems to come back around. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Six of Swords. So Aquarius energy here. So yeah, so for some of you might actually just hope to just get a little bit of time to really process this, right? Because again, like I said, you wouldn't normally think of Ace of Cups as a negative, but again, it just seems like it's more of a timing issue. But there still might be that draw toward it, right? So you're like, okay, ideally, I'd like some time to just get away from it all, and figure out what I want to do. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Four of Wands. So this is Aries energy here. So yeah, so this looks like ultimately you might figure out a way to make both things work, right? Because now on the one hand, you could just say that maybe this is you saying, nope, not interested in continuing on your own journey and having your successes there. But I mean, we do see two people in the card, right? So while that's certainly a possibility, I feel like for somebody this could just ultimately be saying that you might finally figure out, you know what this could be pointing to as well, given that the star card is in the mix. Maybe you had a pattern where you convinced yourself where it had to be all or nothing, right? So you either had to give all your energy to your work or all of your energy toward a relationship, right? So that's why, not everyone would necessarily see it as like such a negative that, oh, my career is going well and here's this love offer, right? But maybe you're someone who likes to feel like you're giving your all to anything you do. So you're like, oh, I can't give my all to this right now because my career is really picking up right now, right? And maybe your career was suffering in the past because you were trying to give your all to your love lives. So maybe that's ultimately what the star card is pointing out there, right? To say that, hey, you don't have to completely abandon your emotional lives just because this other area of life is picking up. So maybe this is ultimately about showing you how to find that balance, right? And with all the energy we talked about going on in your seventh house, maybe that's what's bringing that out as well. All right, and Bottom of the deck, we have the Strength card, which is Leo energy. So yeah, this could just be saying that ultimately maybe you're just figuring out that balance, right? We're like, okay, let's pace ourselves here. And interestingly enough, beneath that we do see the Three of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy, but is very collaborative. So yeah, maybe you're figuring out, okay, maybe there's a way to make these things work simultaneously. Or maybe that was, a concept that you might have just struggled with. Again, I feel like probably well intentioned, but maybe it was just an issue that you used to find yourselves in the past. All right, from the Four Agreements deck, we have Don't Take Anything Personally, and it says Refuse to Eat Emotional Poison. Okay, it says Taking things personally makes you prey for predators. They can hook your attention with one little opinion and feed you whatever poison they want. Refuse to eat poison. So, I mean, an interesting message here to come up as far as there doesn't really seem to be any tension as far as conflict or anything like that. But maybe it is something to at least keep in mind, given that, we are going to have the Mercury retrograde, like we said, in the middle of the month, the Venus retrograde right at the start of the month, the eclipse season, full moon eclipse in your sign, right? So, yeah, it's definitely going to be lots of intense energies going around during the month. All right, from the Wisdom Oracle, we have Clean It Up. There's the artwork, and numbers 21. Let's see what this has to say. All right, essential meanings says getting to the core of a situation, freedom from a burden, cleaning house, sweeping away what is no longer needed. The Oracle's message: ever feel so bogged down with emotional gunk that you can't think straight? Could you be surrounded by physical clutter in your home too? Too much work? Overwhelmed? Time to clean house. Every item out of way natters away at you. Every unresolved resentment, every comparison to others that leads to a sense of lack, takes up energetic space. Every unpaid bill just adds to an unnecessary feeling of being overwhelmed. Now is the time to free yourself by energetically cleaning house. Just do it. Make room for the miracles that are lining up for you. So yeah, interesting message there, right? Because I could see that being potentially that Four of Cups energy we see in the foundation, and then when it says make room for the miracles lining up for you, makes me think more of the Wheel of Fortune energy, the Star energy. So hopefully that resonated. The relationship message says time to clear the air, take a look at your side of the street, and say what's on your mind. Sweep away the old stuff so that a spring breeze can flow through with new energy. It's the perfect time to do an inventory of your dynamics and see what's yours and what's not yours to clean up the relationship. Everyone brings some baggage. Sort through what you brought with you and let go of what is no longer needed. Become unencumbered and your relationship will flourish. So yeah, definitely a positive message there, right? Because what that makes me think of was, like I said, maybe for some of you, this was a pattern that you would go through where you felt like, oh, if I'm giving all my energy to my career, I can't give any energy to a relationship, or vice versa. Oh, I'm in a relationship, can't give energy to my career, right? So you might have just had this weird dynamic going on where one area of life would fall apart because you were putting too much focus on another, and maybe this is about you striking that balance this month. All right. And the prosperity message says simple things like opening your mail, paying bills, sorting out your timetable, making lists, and getting organized is what this symbol means when it comes to your work. Make time for yourself, too. This card is a sign you may be overburdened and overwhelmed. It's okay to say no. You'll prosper even more if you do. So, yeah, definitely a positive message here as well. Makes you think of maybe that Six of Swords energy where, like I said, you might just feel like, okay, I need to just step away for a bit, figure out what I want to do. And like I said, it looks like overall, it looks like it is going to turn out well, given that we have that positive energy in the outcome position. But hopefully that resonated for you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.